Do this right here. All right, hey guys, welcome to Phantom Live. We're glad that you guys are here. I just got an email. Justin Bieber just dropped new merch. Let me close my email folder so these guys don't flame me here.
All right, I'll start. Why is Justin Bieber sending you stuff?
I went through a phase. Anyway, welcome to Phantom Live. I'm TJ. This is Matt. Special guest Ryan. We'll let him introduce himself in just a little while. But before we jump into the show, we do want to remind you guys that we are on all social media platforms: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Did I say YouTube already?
Nope.
So if you want to catch the replay of this, it'll be here on Facebook, but we're also going to move it to our YouTube channel. We're trying to get Matt to do some cool TikTok dances. He said he would once we hit 1,000 followers. And we want to remind you that if you're not in the Low Country area, or if you are and you want to shop conveniently, you can do so at phantomoutdoors.com. Everything that we have in the store, with the exception of the Pew Pew Room, is online. If you say the G word, Facebook might bring us down.
Really?
They're very touchy about firearms.
Yeah.
So we gotta be careful about Facebook. Hey, but we like our podcast to be interactive, and so if somebody could type in chat real quick. There we go. Chris McDonald said that's a legend. Let's go. Just to make sure the chat's working. We like our podcast to be interactive, so you guys definitely can put questions that you might have for us or Ryan in the comment section, and we'll be sure to answer them. If they're not really on point with what we're talking about at the moment, we'll save them for the end, because there will be a Q&A section as well. So if you ask where do babies come from, save it for the end. And with that, let's jump into the good stuff.
All right.
Tonight's special guest, Mr. Ryan Bowles. Thanks for coming on, dude.
Oh, glad to do it.
I'm really glad, because I feel like you're one of those guys that comes in the store all the time, and I know you like kind of around other people, but we have mutual friends. But to get to know you a little bit better, I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. I got enough of my money, so.
That's awesome.
Ryan is a great customer, great friend, great outdoorsman in general. So
Steven Leonard said hammer, and I actually literally have that in my show notes right now. But
Chris,
Chris,
be talking about Justin Bieber.
that's the new Justin Bieber album coming
I'm
out.
watching how many people comment here. I'm thinking y'all trying to butter him up for some Thursday night tips. Big week this week.
Oh man, I have a new YouTube video dropping, but I went fishing with Steven. He said you can't post this video till after Thursday afternoon, so people can't see what we're throwing.
You told me y'all caught 3 1-pounders. What's there to post?
We caught
Sorry, Steven.
we caught a little more, but oh my gosh. There's a different side of Matt that comes out when we have a guest. He's so much more loose right now. I love it. Well, Ryan, exactly.
I like that one right there. Chris McDonald. Heckwood fishing. Let's talk deer hunting.
We're going to talk about some hunting. We are going to talk about some hunting. But first, Ryan, for those of you that might not know you, like myself, tell us a little bit about who you are, where you come from, and your affiliation maybe with Phantom in the area.
Okay. Born and raised right here in Berkeley County, 48 years old. Hunted and fished this area all my life. Last 15 years, I've been the general manager at Oakland Club Plantation, and the kind of the 10 before it spent with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. So pretty much my entire working career has been in the outdoors. Grew up hunting and fishing the lakes, from the pre-hydrilla days to the hydrilla, post-hydrilla. I think I fished every Work It Man tournament trail there was, except I think I missed the first 3. Then Dinger and I started fishing them right after they moved to Cypress Gardens.
Cool.
Been kind of here all my life. Known Todd for probably 30 years. So, like everybody, buy a lot of trucks from him and that kind of thing. They opened Phantom up, and been spending a lot of money here ever since.
That's right. This is a random question, has nothing to do with anything. Just a get to know you question. What's your favorite movie?
Hard to put one out, but I'm a big fan of somewhat historically accurate type movies. So you're all like the World War II type movies that are accurate. Talking about things, Red Tails and
Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan. The one a few years ago, The Hill, the guy that never carried a gun.
Yeah,
saved
I
all the
actually-
people. Hacksaw Ridge,
Oh, yeah.
Ridge was
that kind of
awesome.
thing. I
That was
love.
awesome.
I'm into that. I enjoy watching those types of. They're probably my favorite kinds of movies.
Okay.
I had my fingers crossed he was going to say Tombstone.
Is that your favorite movie?
That's one of them.
It's my
Yeah,
favorite.
But I
those-
love, like Ryan
those are
said,
good,
I
but
love
it's-
all those. I love all that. Hacksaw Ridge was a great movie.
I haven't seen it. Maybe
It
I
was
should.
a great movie.
Yeah, all the old westerns, modern westerns, that kind of thing.
Okay.
That's my favorite.
My favorite frozen pizza is Tombstone. I don't know if you ever had one of those.
Have you seen Tombstone?
Yes,
I
I've
was about
seen
to say.
Tombstone. Okay, that's the Huckleberry quote, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
Ryan, last get to know you question. What do you like to do in your spare time besides hunting and fishing?
I don't have any spare time other than hunting. Really, running the plantation. I'm pretty much in the woods from August until March, and then we burn in April, and turkey hunting in April and May. So I mean, I'm in the field doing something wildlife related almost all the time, and my vacation time or my time away is pretty much spent fishing and doing stuff with my kids.
So when you were younger, you grew up in this area. Were you always like an outdoor oriented kid? Like you grew up doing it all?
Yep, sure
And so did you always think that you were going to have a career in the outdoors, or did you kind of fall into it, or?
So there's our state turkey biologist for almost 40 years was David Bauman. And he laughed. We were at a function one time. I was 8, 9, 10 years old. And they asked me, said, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I told them, I said, I want to be like Mr. David. I want to get paid to hunt and fish.
Cool.
So, I mean, from a very early age, that was kind of my goal in life, was to figure out how I could get paid to go hunting and fishing. And I've done that. It's different when it's your job. I guess a lot of people think it's a dream job, and it is, but I don't get to do nearly the hunting that I used to do.
Right.
When you do it for a living, you just don't get to do quite as much of it. But I'm associated with it, and I'm around it every day, so I enjoy it.
So what is we're going to talk move into a hunting and the Oakland Club section, because I didn't know anything about the Oakland Club until today. I did a little bit of research, but tell us more about the club and your day-to-day, how you run the Oakland Club.
We're located in, kind of upper Berkeley County, but right between the lakes. Got a lot of frontage on the Santee River, go all the way to Moultrie and Marion. We encompass right at 30,000 acres. A lot of that's in the floodplain, so we created, deer camps, if you will, deer clubs out of some of that. The primary focus of Oakland, it was formed in 1897, and it's been, the primary focus is quail hunting. It's been a quail hunting plantation for the last 100 and whatever that is, 25, 30 years.
All right, so I don't know the first thing about quail hunting, but Matt tells me it's horseback.
Yes, they do. Not everybody, but the way they hunt, a lot of it.
Yeah, so we try and keep it, if you will, historically accurate. The owners like that. So 90% plus of our hunts are all done off of horseback. We'll go out, and guides and the guests will ride their horses, and the dogs point. You'll dismount, shoot your coveys, mount back on the horses and continue on. Hunt throughout the day, do field lunches. We cook for them out in the field each, not every day, but on the good weather days or days that they so choose. And it's just kind of a historically accurate way of doing it.
Man, that's cool.
Kind of the way it was done in the old days. We do offer some Jeeps for some of the older members, and I got some courses that we'll just go hunt off the Jeep.
Cool.
If they can't ride a horse. But and I guess if you're feeling really froggy, you could walk, but we cover so much country in a day.
Okay.
It's not true wild birds, but they're still scattered like wild birds are, so it's a lot of walking.
Okay.
So you prefer to ride a horse or a Jeep, so we can cover their acreage.
Okay, so
Such a beautiful place. If you ever get a chance, it's beautiful. The wildlife out there, the roads are manicured. It's just a beautiful place. It's like I don't know. It's like you drive, when you get there, you feel like, maybe I drove 6 hours and went to a different state or something. Just that whole area is just awesome. Just the woods are beautiful. It's all great out there.
So I read today, is Francis Marion's tomb on the grounds, or is it outside?
It's actually the geographical center of the plantation, really.
Okay.
Now it's his tomb. That was actually his brother's plantation.
Right.
Back in the day, that's where his brother and that's where their family kind of cemetery was. So that is where he was buried
Okay.
currently, and that's where his monument is, and it's kind of the geographical center of our property.
Okay, and that's open to the public, so anybody can come and,
Yep,
and see
you,
that.
you can drive in. I think it's like sunrise to sunset, but
Okay.
it's open 7 days a week. You can go in and look at it. Yes.
So I'm actually a transplant here, and I just read a book
From
called
Ohio.
from from Alabama in the Georgia area a little bit. No, I'm not from Ohio. But I read a book recently called The Swamp Fox, and it's it's biographical about Francis Marion, and it talked about his plantation and his brother's plantation, and he actually had a nephew killed in the war who shared a name with his brother, and he was killed simply because he carried that Marion name, and everybody was looking for him and couldn't find him. And so, if you guys aren't from the area and you didn't grow up hearing the Francis Marion story, I mean, the Patriot is like very loosely based off of
Yes,
him
it
as a
is.
person. But one interesting thing is his Francis Marion's plantation is now under the lake, like it's underwater.
Yeah.
Do you know where it is on the lake?
Sure do.
I need you guys to take me out there sometime so I can do like a little video or something. That'd be cool.
About 25 feet deep. I mean, you
I'm
can't
not
see it. but
I'm not gonna
it's,
get in, but I mean that'd be cool to like hear once was some really cool historical stuff going on.
Well, you could just go float anywhere in the lake and say, I'm right over Francis Marion.
I guess I
Nobody
could.
knows.
Oh my gosh. Hey, Walter Cumby asked this question, and
Okay.
he told us he was gonna chime
This
in.
could be a bad one.
We're gonna stray away, and we'll. First of all, guys, how do you like the new podcast setup? We're actually in the front of the store, and so you'll probably hear traffic occasionally like that. Guy on the motorcycle who had something to prove. Walter Cumby says, "Deer management. How long does it take to get deer herd where you're happy with the size of bucks you're managing?"
That totally depends on what size deer you consider to be really good. If you start this year and you're looking for state class deer, probably 3 or 4 years. It takes 4.5 years old in South Carolina is usually where they peak out at. Under certain conditions, it could be 5.5, but your best bucks, they have reached their genetic potential by 4.5 years old. So, in theory, if you start today and start letting a lot of those smaller bucks walk and provide the nutrition and the cover that they need, 4 years.
Okay.
That's for maximum. I mean, if you're, it just depends on what you're looking for.
What's your advice to someone like me who this is really the first deer season where I'm trying to get into it? What would be your advice to someone who wants to get into the deer hunting game?
Don't start out there with them.
Well,
Yeah.
Go to the government woods and hunt like everybody else
and get lost.
And do that for like 10 years, and then you go out there and you see like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I've talked to a lot of clubs and a lot of people and about this, and what we do at Oakland is not necessarily for everybody. What we do is for the person that's kind of tired of shooting the run of the mill South Carolina 15-inch 8-point, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And,
Right.
and if you shoot cow horns, if you shoot 4 points, I don't care as long as you're happy with it. It doesn't bother me.
Okay.
What we do is just not necessarily for everyone.
Okay.
But we wanted to see what we could do, and we've had some good success with it, and have some nice bucks. It's not always easy, but we go, I guess, kind of above and beyond, if you will, kind of overkill in a sense. But a new person getting into it is just find your passion, find what you enjoy, and shoot that cow horn, shoot that 4-point, shoot that doe. If you got the tags, and enjoy it. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Right.
Is being able to enjoy what you're doing. It shouldn't be miserable. It shouldn't be hard. Go out and enjoy your time. And when you're excited, when that 4-point comes out and you're really excited to harvest him, I encourage you to harvest him. I mean, if that makes you happy, that's what the outdoors is all about.
So I've killed one deer, and it was like 8 years ago. It was a doe, and haven't really been hunting since then. But Todd says if I kill my first buck, I can hang it up in the store.
It's got to be a good one, though.
What if it's like,
Yeah.
Anyway.
So part of my thing, and I hunted last year more than I have probably since I was in my 20s. My kids are getting older now. I have more time. My wife found a new interest in hunting, an interest in hunting. So I got to do it a lot, and it was really enjoyable. My favorite part is I killed one doe last year. I sat more than I ever have. I saw more deer than I probably ever have. I enjoy, whoever the group I'm with, I enjoy that hour before we go to the stand and that hour coming back.
Yeah.
I love sitting in the stand looking at the deer, and I love shooting. I'm not going to say I don't. I'm not a nature. You know what I mean? I love the fellowship. Same as fishing. I love the fellowship. I love being at the boat landing and talking to all my buddies and spending time with them. I think that's sometimes people lose that. You know what I mean? You don't really get to hang out part, and that's an awesome thing. So it's all great experience.
I think that's one thing that's intriguing about the Oakland Club is you mentioned how whether you're able to do horseback or you need the Jeep, you've talked about how it's always like a group activity. It's not a solo mission, kind of building that camaraderie around hunting.
Quail hunting is kind of like dove hunting. It's a very social event.
Okay.
You know, while you do dove hunt, and same with deer. You know, you get on your stand in a dove field and you're shooting, but prior to and after, and you know, as you knock birds down and walk by a buddy, or you know, you end up over at somebody else's stand talking for a few minutes, then it's a social event. And quail hunting is very much the same way. You're between coveys. These guys can bring, you know, business partners, can bring, you know, personal friends, and spend a day in the field and be able to you don't have to sit there and whisper because you're in a tree stand or something like that. So quail hunting is a very social event, and that's a lot of what I enjoy about it. I think, just like Matt was saying, you know, we have our little deer hunts and have people out, or go over to Todd's. You know, we're all there. It's as much fun, you know, before and after. You know, if somebody gets a great buck, that's great. You know, if not, it was just a lot of fun to go and hang out and see everybody outside of a, you know, work environment, and be able to enjoy your time outdoors.
I think that's one of my favorite parts about being here at Phantom and just being in the outdoor scene in general is, like, prior to working here, you know, in the YouTube community, like, everyone is so, like you said, social. Like, I met David Clements, a good friend of mine now, at the boat ramp because I was putting my kayak in. He saw my GoPro and was like, "Hey, you make videos?" I thought he was coming to cuss me out because I was blocking the ramp.
I told you a while back, generally when you're there fishing, hunting, whatever, the people that you meet, you generally have something in common with them.
Yeah.
So it's easy to spark up a friendship. I mean, all of my, you know, favorite friends and all have come through hunting and fishing and all that stuff. And, you know, I got a couple that, you know, I carried through school and all that stuff before hunting and fishing, but for the most part, it's all from hunting and fishing and tournaments and,
I mean, it's
trailing deer, whatever it may be.
It's just great. Like, the camaraderie, I don't know if it's like this in every market, but here in the Low Country, the camaraderie between the outdoorsmen is just, it's so tight. So Chris said, "Matt, you need to come with me and Skeeter." Skeeter said, "All deer look good on the tailgate."
Of course, Skeeter did.
Skeeter says that.
Christopher Calder said, "Need to video T when he sees his first big buck through the scope. Buck fever." Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen a buck. I've never, like, when I killed that doe.
Buck fever is real. It'll happen.
Is it?
If it doesn't happen, you need to find something else to do.
Yeah.
It's not right for you.
I mean, I'm big into, like, bass. I love bass fishing, right? When the bass, and we'll talk about fishing in just a little bit. I mean, when you get that hit, you don't know what's on the other line on the other end of the line immediately. So it's like you have the potential for these little your heart to, you know, your pulse to get up several times out there. Like, when you're hunting, I guess you have that same reaction when you see that buck walk out?
Unreal.
I just don't know. I've never experienced it.
It's unreal.
So if you want to put me on
Somebody's
one.
asking a food question.
All right.
Cash Christie, what's your favorite? I don't know who the question's for. What's your favorite beef jerky brand and flavor? So we all got to answer this.
My favorite beef jerky brand. I don't buy it often because I think, you know, just out of spite because it's so expensive. But I'll tell you who has really good beef jerky. Buc-ee's. Like the gas station Buc-ee's.
Their brand?
It's pretty good.
I've never had that one.
Mine's hickory flavored Crockett Creek. Crockett Creek, you see it at these shows, and they got the best beef jerky.
Guess I'm just a Jack Link's kind of guy.
I like Jack Link's.
You know, switch it up and get exciting, do teriyaki or something every now and then. But other than that, just, I guess, Jack Link's. That's what when I do buy it, and I'm like you, I have a hard time paying.
It is
$6 for 2 ounces of meat. But Jack Link's is good
Because I can get 3 McDoubles for the same
exactly,
price.
Exactly.
Cash said, "Outdoor people, women fish and hunt too." That's absolutely true.
Absolutely.
And then Steven just laughed at whiskey.
Well, we all have wives and daughters. I believe that all of them hunt. All of them fish.
Yep.
So
my son, my daughters,
we're
Jessica and
100%.
Lizzie, yep.
100%.
They all hunt, and it is, and that's a good thing. You know, deer hunting doesn't have to be, you know, it isn't necessarily a man's sport. Anybody can do it, and it's it's a great southern pastime. And
Absolutely.
Berkeley County, South Carolina has the longest deer season of anywhere in the country.
Let's go.
And the most liberal. But now with the tags, it's changed a little bit. But up until a few years ago, it was unlimited.
Yeah.
You kill all the bucks you wanted every year. Now, whether you use personal tags or property tags, there is technically a limit on it, but it's still very, very liberal. So the opportunities are there, and get out and enjoy it and do it. Just go do it.
Now, do you guys clean your own deers at this point?
Sometimes I do.
Yeah.
I've fallen into the trap that so many people have. Growing up as a kid, we didn't have processors. Now there's a processor every 20 miles, it seems like. So it's just so easy to throw that deer in the back of the truck, run straight to the processor, and just let them deal with it. But I have cleaning facilities, and we will, clean and hang our deer and do it that way. But I go the lazy route and head straight to a processor usually.
It's very convenient.
It's just so convenient and easy.
Right.
So yeah.
I told my father-in-law we went to Government Woods last year, like one time, one hunt, right? So this year, I promise you guys, I'm gonna try my best to make you proud. I told him when I kill it, I'd like for him to show me how to do it because I've never done that or experienced it. But
Everybody should know how to do that.
Right. Because you never know what the future might hold in economic collapse.
absolutely.
I'm not a.
I got you.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
that's just something. That's a life
Right.
skill that everybody should know.
Right. But after that, I think I would want to take it to someone to do it for me too.
Same way. Cleaning a fish. We're catch and release, and we do.
Yeah.
We promote catch and release for the most part. I'm not gonna say we didn't. We probably all grown up eating fish.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody should know how to clean a fish.
Yeah.
That. Never know.
I think I've watched enough YouTube videos to be able to do it. Clean a fish, not a deer.
You got to live the real life.
Y'all gotta teach me.
You got to do the real thing.
Yeah. Somebody out there is watching is probably like, how did TJ end up working in an outdoor store? He can't clean a fish. But I'm the same way, catch and release most of the time.
Yeah.
So you guys do a lot of deer hunting, and mostly quail, but you do deer hunt at Oakland as well?
The primary focus of Oakland is on quail. That's what the ownership prefers.
Okay.
We created the Oakland Swamp Club, or Oakland Club did, and then we moved that to a trophy management type situation. It's grown over the years. Then there's a certain segment of the upland that borders that we also follow the same trophy management guidelines on. So we've created about 16,000 acres. It's just under real intense, trophy deer management. So
what's the most rewarding part of what you do?
I think in the fall when you go sit in that tree stand, and see those deer, Matt, has hunted with me, and you sit at that 7 acre field and you see 15, 16 deer, and there's 4 or 5 bucks out there just feeding, and the sun's still up and the sun's shining on them. And you see it doesn't have to be a trophy, but you just see several decent bucks, and you get to enjoy. You just sit back and enjoy it. That you're able to accomplish that. Same as we go on our dove fields and we're having a great dove hunt, and sometimes I'll just kind of quit shooting and watch across the field and watch friends and partners and buddies, and just shooting the birds and having a great time. And I planted and grew that.
Yeah.
Same with the owners. Of course, this is my job. They better find a lot of quail or I don't have a job. But, hearing them come in and hearing the hunting stories from the day, and just being successful in the field and being able to generate and garner that, manipulate the habitat to produce the wild game, and then being able to sit on the front porch and watch 6 or 7 deer in the yard, or
I was about to say that.
Have a successful dove hunt or have a successful quail hunt, or whether it be myself or my son or a friend come out and harvest a really nice deer, and see their excitement, and it kind of makes all that hard work worthwhile. Kind of makes it pay off for itself that way.
Ryan probably lives a mile? How long is your rock road? A mile?
It is a mile. Yeah,
all right, so a mile off the road. And I would almost willing to bet that after dark, from that mile, you'll see more deer than I would normally see in a full year hunting anywhere.
Cool.
Like in Government Woods.
We do cheat a little bit. It's lined with live oaks, and then there's a bunch of big red and white oaks down near the kennels. So when you come in after dark and the acorns are falling, there are a lot of deer.
Cool. That's so cool.
It is so cool.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Well, before we transition to fishing, Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit? Hunting season is literally what, Friday?
Monday it starts. We're in full swing here because I think me and Buddy was just counting. I think I mounted and bore sighted 5 scopes in the last 3 hours today.
Wow.
So, and that's not counting what Trevor and Buddy did today.
Yeah.
It is wide open. So that is something we do, guys. If y'all don't know, if you're not sure where your gun's at, we will bore sight it. Just bring it in. Please bring it in a case. Let us know. Let the girls at least know that you're coming in with a gun.
Yes, please.
But yeah, that's some service that we offer. So definitely, we're glad. We enjoy doing it too. We enjoy talking hunting just as much as we enjoy talking fishing.
If you guys are interested, like we do carry rifles, we do carry scopes. If you need to get your first setup, like me this season, we have it. We've got all the Sitka, we've got feeders, we've got deer stands, we've got more deer stands on the way next week.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the scent remover. Like we've got everything you need.
We got it.
To get out there.
Pretty much everything. About all the ammo now. We just got in 270 Winchester short mag. If anybody was looking, I know I had a list that I called on people that was looking for some. We did get in some 22 rat shot today too. So that was a pretty hot commodity to come by this year.
For rat season?
No, snake shot, rat shot, whatever. It's probably not called either, but the people around here know what I'm talking about.
They'll know.
They know what I'm talking about.
So yeah, if you guys need anything, definitely come by and see us. We're getting more and more stuff every couple days, trying to make sure we're prepared for the season for you guys. We also have shelled and cob corn for you guys. Yes, we know it's gone up. It's $13 a bag, but you need to come get it from us. David said, "So what happened to Chad?"
Huh?
He said, "So what happened to Chad?"
I don't think anything happened to Chad. I mean, nothing bad. If Chad had an opportunity, and this is Chad's story to tell, okay, not mine, but
Right.
Chad had an opportunity for his family, and he took it, and we support him. I mean, we still love Chad. We hang out with Chad after work, so nothing bad. All good stuff, you know. Had a great opportunity, couldn't pass on.
Yeah, I'm very
Everybody
thankful too. Like
understands.
when I came in, I got to work with Chad for a few days, so it's like I got to develop a relationship with Chad, and I don't want to tell anybody's business, but Chad's wife and my wife like hit it off. They're all about the same things. They're into the same things. They follow the same influences and stuff. So it is really cool.
Good deal.
We love Chad. Come see me, baby. Walter said, "Ryan, how many trophy bucks have you seen over the years that you could have shot that you never got to see again?" Walter's coming in hot tonight.
Yeah,
I like it.
really good question. A lot. It happens. You know, the nature of a 4.5-year-old deer and older, they just become nocturnal. Things, you know, when you really get deep into management, you know, there's this beautiful 2-year-old buck out there and you're letting him go, and then, you know, a big 4-year-old comes out and you shoot and kill him. Well, you just educated that 2-year-old, and a lot goes into it, but that's part of being patient. I've always told people it takes, you know, 101-year-old deer to make 52-year-old deer to make 25 or 33-year-old deer to make the 5 mature deer that I'm going to see this year.
Right.
The largest buck that I shot at, my son did. We sat together. I didn't get to hunt last year. I took my son Tyler, but the largest deer we shot at, we did not have a picture of it. Had never seen it on camera. It just kind of came through. So it does happen. I had another huge buck that was killed on the property several years ago. Had 1,000 pictures of it at 3 years old. Completely disappeared. Never got a picture of it. Never saw it at 4 years old. And then randomly one day walked in, got in the stand, looked out, sat down. He's standing out in the middle of the food plot, eating like he's been there all his life, you know, and was able to harvest him. So
Walter, that's probably the one I showed you the picture of this morning.
yeah,
The one hanging in your office?
yeah, the one is in my office.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
It does happen. It's not an exact science, you know, and like I said, to really get to the level that we're at, you almost have to be tired of killing, you know, 15, 16-inch 8 points, you
Right.
know, and, you know, I just killed a lot of them. We wanted to go to the next step, and then we kind of decided to go to the next step. And, you know, now we shoot just age category deer. You know, everything we shoot, it has nothing to do with the antlers. It has all to do with the age structure of that deer,
Cool.
you know, and,
Todd's another one. Todd is, I think he may be different. He's not here to defend himself, so I'm gonna get on him a little
He's
bit.
probably listening.
No, I think that Todd is one of those people. He's very content with the crowd that he's around and seeing deer.
Yeah.
He hunts a lot, and I mean he doesn't shoot a lot. I think may kill one, but he's just looking. I mean, been at his house. He's got trophies mounted everywhere. He's looking for that one, and he's perfectly content with not shooting a deer all year. You know, he does get excited when women and kids shoot a deer, especially their first deer. He gets pumped up. So, and he likes,
and I'm the same way.
He likes trailing deer too. He might not tell you that.
You can have the trailing deer thing. I prefer them to drop in the food plot, back up, load it up, and leave. But no, I love, Brandon's been hunting with me the last couple of years a little bit, and watching his son, harvest that deer and get a chance at killing that nice 8-point or 9-point he killed a couple of years ago. That was, I mean, I got more pleasure out of that night, watching him or being there when he killed that deer than I would have ever had, shooting that deer myself. Watching my son, shoot these deer and we got a cull buck list for Tyler, call them Tyler bucks, and deer that we're going to let go, and then deer that we're going to try and harvest. And
Tyler's
it's
a hog slayer too.
Yeah,
he's got some. You go on there and look at some of the hogs that he's killed. I mean,
we got a few pigs. Yeah,
giants.
and you can shoot pigs all year round here, right?
Yes.
Because they're a nuisance.
They are.
Chris said, do y'all have any short sleeve Phantom Blaze orange shirts in stock? I'll check for you if you give us a call. I won't be here tomorrow. Give us a call tomorrow, and Matt will check for you.
Well, I know we got some long sleeve ones, and I do have some scissors, so
yeah,
we can make it work.
We'll give you a 1 of 1. We'll make it for you. And then Carl said he's bringing a scope to us Friday. Dude, Carl, bring it in. We'll get you taken care of.
All right, Mr. Morris, come on.
Mr. Morris.
Yeah, Carl Morris.
Skeeter says, a few pigs, ha ha ha.
Yeah, I shot Skeeter out of buckshot on a hunt last year, and he wanted to go walking, and he about shot himself out of buckshot when he got into the pigs. So
that's funny.
Things are going off.
No, so Facebook isn't the best live streaming platform, so it just like caught up to itself, and instead of everything being doubled now, it's trying to fix itself.
I got a question for Ryan.
Okay,
this will be my last hunting question.
Okay,
all right. Just say a guy's got, we'll say an average person's lease around here is what, maybe 30 acres, not a big property.
yeah.
Just say if they want to plant a 1-acre field, what is their best food source that they could plant to benefit them and the deer?
Okay, so I'm gonna answer this twofold.
Okay.
I get this question a lot. If I go to a hunting club or whatever it is, and talking to people, the number one best thing you can do for the deer on your property, and if you're gonna have a 1-acre food plot for your hunting, the best thing you can do is have a reason for that deer to walk into that food plot 24/7, 365 days a year.
Okay.
Whether it be a buck or a doe, a big buck or a little buck, if he steps into give him a reason to go there year round. So many people, 90% of your deer management is done from January to August.
Sure.
The deer's got to gain his weight back from the winter. He's got to grow his horns all summer, so they need food. It's a year-round job. Guys, if you show up on August 5th and go, hey, it's deer season, and go throw some soybeans out, you've kind of missed it. You have an attraction plot. But to really have some trophy deer, there needs to be a reason, whether it be a feeder, a food plot, all the above is it. Unfortunately, there's no one secret thing that just grows magically all year long.
Mm-hmm.
It requires work. If you're coming into the fall, I'm a huge believer in the clovers, whether it be crimson clover, white ladino clovers. You really just can't beat them, and they're really easy to grow. Disc the soil, prep it, and just basically broadcast it right ahead of a rain, and it'll come in, and it'll last well into the spring. Once it gets hot, it kind of goes dormant, but then you can come in and surround your food plot with things like ash-anemone, joint vetch, same thing. Or just, whether it be soybeans or anything, if you can kind of keep something going in there for them, that'll make a huge difference in the health of your deer and in the ability to see those deer during daylight. Gotcha. That's one of the neat things. You've hunted with me a few times. Mm-hmm. Is, you walk in and get in the stand and sit down, and there's deer out there.
Yep.
That's one other key secret, if you will. I do not have a tree stand on my property that I cannot get into with there can be deer on that feeder or in that food plot. You can walk in, get in the stand, and hunt and leave, and they never know you were there.
Wow.
We hunt wind only. You can wear exactly what we're wearing to 99% of my tree stands, because the wind's going to be in your face. If it's not in your face, we just don't hunt it. I usually keep the stand out of the food plot a little ways, and you may not be able to see every corner of it perfectly, but those deer just don't realize they're being hunted.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for those deer to go to those food plots basically 365 days a year, and that makes a huge difference.
Very
So
good.
for your fall plantings, I mean, you can't go wrong in the fall. You know, your wheat and your oats are really good. Your clovers are really good. Once you get into the spring, you know, your ash-anemones are really good, as well as, I mean, you can just go with browse tolerant, if you can, like browse tolerant type soybeans. You can look them up online, find them. Eagle soybeans is one of them, I know.
Okay.
And they're browse tolerant, which means the deer can nip at them and they kind of keep
growing.
going. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mix them with like sun hemp or something like that and let them come up, vine up with it. You can plant a little bit of corn and your soybeans together, and the soybeans will vine up the corn, and kind of get ahead of that curve and give them more food than they can eat. And that's how you
Very
generate
good.
a lot of, just at least a lot more deer. Maybe you're not going to grow a 150 in South Carolina, but you can, you know, healthy deer and see a lot more deer and make your hunting a lot more fun.
Okay.
So
Cool. Do you
good.
now? Do you like, because you manage like such a big area? Do you have cameras out all year round?
at time, no.
Okay.
I'm like everybody else. Once my food plots, they carry me through March and April. You know, we're doing our burning, and they've lost their horns.
Okay.
You know, once they shed those horns, I kind of put up the cameras and just let them have the food plots, and I go fishing. You know, get out, get away, get out of the woods for a few months, and then once we start getting into the summer, I go in and do my summer plots. And then we'll start putting some cameras up. Usually, I guess we've had cameras running almost a month now.
Okay.
So we'll start with the bachelor bucks, and it's a great time right now, these few weeks before, you know, I can see a lot of bucks. I probably got 30, 40 different bucks on camera right now, and you kind of catalog them and go, hey, that's a cull buck. You know, this is one, this is a potential shooter. You know, man, what a great looking deer. We're going to give him another year. And that'll change as the season progresses, as they come out of velvet and their body kind of finishes developing. But
That's cool.
cameras are a good thing, but you know, you can start them July, August, and I'll run them through January.
Okay. We're gonna transition to some fishing topics, and if you guys have any more hunting specific questions, once again we'll have a Q&A at the end depending on how long we go. But transitioning to fishing, Ryan, people around here say you're a hammer. Is that true or false?
Absolute false. There was a
100%
time.
true.
There was a time. I will say that. I lost my primary fishing partner, I guess 3 years ago now. 4 years ago. Golly, time flies.
Plus.
He and I kind of grew up hunting and fishing together. Started in college and met in college, and took off, and we decided to go down to the river and man, we were going to beat up on these guys, and we kind of got our butts handed to us for a year or two, but we put in the time, we put in the work, and and we got pretty good there for a while.
Okay.
You know, and I lost him a few years ago, and just kind of hadn't got my mojo back yet, I guess.
Okay.
Well, I think there's probably lots of people glad you didn't have your mojo right now. Are you at 5? How many?
All right, hold on. We're gonna get to that.
Oh, this is the secret
We're
stuff.
gonna get to that. Matt. So Skeeter says Skeeter said Ryan's my hero in fishing. So there you go.
Poor guy. That's all I can say. Poor fella.
And he put Ryan's my hero, and then he put back in fishing. Well, what about hunting?
What about hunting?
What about life skills, Skeeter?
Actually, you know what? We'll talk about this. No, we'll come back to it. This is kind of like a fun question. If you could fish one pro trail, would you rather fish Bassmaster Elites or MLF, and why? Or do you follow professional fishing? I guess I should have asked you that.
Yeah, I do. I would have to say the Elite Series. I feel like they're just the best of the best. I mean,
Right.
you have to qualify. Qualifying alone is just a brutal thing to do. And if you can sustain yourself on the Elite Tour, I just feel like you're just a cut above everybody else.
And now it's even tougher with the whole having to fish all 9.
Yeah, now you have to fish all 9. If you qualify for the tour, you deserve to be there. No
Right.
questions. In my opinion.
Oh yeah.
If you qualify, you get the invite from the elites. You've made it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're there.
I think about guys like Polinick who paid to get out of their MLF contract and then came and re-qualified for the Elites. I mean, there's something special about these guys that we don't have.
Well, a lot of people, I think you can see that. I mean, a lot of those guys, Polinick, one of them, you know, he's good at catching a big 5-fish limit, and he is. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of these guys thought that, well, you know, the point of going away from a 5-fish limit and catch as many little ones as he could was cool, but I think some of them really don't like that as much. I like to see. I want to see the 5 heaviest fish you can catch.
Right.
You know, and then managing that over 4 days is
That's
even
yeah.
tougher.
Right.
I mean, that's a whole different. It's tough.
Yeah.
I think the elites for sure.
I think if I could choose, I would also choose elites. Although I was watching MLF today, and the format does look fun though. I think it's most exciting when you have those guys that are below the cut line who like with a minute left are catching a big one and
I think Major League Fishing has kind of stepped it up. I think they've on certain, they've gone to like 2 pounds. It doesn't count unless it weighs like
That's
2
right.
pounds. He's gone now, but he's a legend, Aaron Martins. And guy was just so good. But I was watching it, and I just sit there for 2.5 hours watching him catch 133 1 pound smallmouth. And I just found myself just turning it away. I'm like,
Right.
How many 1 pound fish can you watch a guy catch?
Right.
And I think they're doing well, and they're changing. They're becoming, they're competitive. But I just feel like if I qualified for something, I'd like to qualify for the elites. Just feel like you've done something, you've made it.
Right.
And I think too, with us all growing up around fishing, it was always like if there was anything, it was Bassmaster Classic.
That's
it. That was it. So
Yeah.
that probably hurt MLF some because we're already conditioned to the Bassmaster is the way to go.
Right.
Even FLW was around and it was a great tour, but I don't think it got the following near like Bassmaster did.
Right.
I'd gone to the FLW championship in Columbia, when they had it, and then I've been to the upstate. And there's just no comparison, the FLW championship to the Bassmaster Classic, the expo, and everything that goes along with it. I mean, there's nothing like it.
That's a redneck Super Bowl right there.
Yeah.
Oh, we went. This
It's
is
a
my
good
first
time.
one.
Oh, it is.
It's a good time and an amazing show.
It
So, I mean,
is.
they do it right. And,
100%.
Those guys, I mean, every one of those guys on the Elite Tour have my utmost respect. I mean,
yeah.
You have to be good at it all. I mean, just at it all. So,
This was my first year going to the Classic. My wife went with me just to be there with me, and had no interest. And we actually left early Saturday from the weigh-in. She was like, "No, I kind of want to stay and watch the weigh-in." She's like, "I love watching these guys' energy holding up their fish. They're so proud of what they did." Like, so the energy from the Classic, like my wife caught on, and now when I'm watching Bassmaster at home, my wife's like, "Oh, that's the guy that did this, or that's the guy from Hawaii," or so she's starting to learn as well.
My wife watches it with me too. She just picks out what she considers the hot guys. So
Matt Robertson.
No, she picks Polinick and she ended up with Matt Robertson. That's how it works.
Oh man. This might be an awkward question because the Thursday night Working Man Championship is this week, but can you give us like a fishing report for the area? We usually do this every podcast, but what information can you give us about fishing Low Country, South Carolina right now?
Tough. I mean,
Yeah.
I think whether you're on the lake or whether you're on the river, it always does this. August and September are just really tough months to fish here. They've just really had their brains beat in for the last 6 months. And,
Right.
The grass is at its thickest, the water's at its hottest, and it does get tough. And the weights, the winning weights may kind of remain the same, but everybody else, it's just a lot tougher right now. There's still fish there to be caught. Somebody's going to win Thursday night.
Yeah.
If it's me, it's going to be a miracle. I was on the river tonight before I came up here. I've just had a tough season. Really had a tough season this year. Like we were talking before the podcast, I kind of got out of cycle. I got out of sync and kind of lost track of the fish a little bit, and just got busy with work. And my oldest daughter started in college and just didn't put in the effort and the time down there. And if you're going to compete with these guys down here, you better show up and practice. You better get out there and fish.
Okay.
If you're not willing to spend 2 or 3 days a week on that river, including tournament day, you're just not going to be. You're not going to be consistent.
Okay.
Anybody can go win Thursday night, but if you're really going to be consistent, you got to put in the time and the effort and keep up with what's going on. And the subtle changes is every week, every day, and every week the tide's different. The turbines now add a lot to that, and for me it's been tough. Not as tough for some other guys, but I've just kind of gotten out of touch, a little bit out of sync, if you will.
Yeah.
And I just hadn't been able to figure it back out the last few weeks.
My goal is to fish them next year. I need to, maybe my partner will come through and actually want to fish with me one day. My goal is to fish them next year, so I'll probably hit you up for a lot of advice. Speaking of the Thursday night series, Matt told me you were a 3-time winner, but I hear that's inaccurate. How many
I
times
said
did you?
about 3 times. I didn't know it was 5.
So you've won the whole Working Man series, like the championship 5 times, or the points 5 times?
The points I did 4 years in a row.
That's right.
Actually, I won 4 consecutive points titles, and then intermixed throughout the years. I think I've won 5 championships.
Okay.
The Thursday night, one night kind of blowout championships. So I've done, I think, 5 of those, and I got 4 of the plaques at home for the Angler of the Year, or you know.
Heck yeah, dude. And so were some of those years like you won the points and the championship?
A few, yep.
Man, that's a pretty big deal.
It really, it is to win the points title down there is tough. I think Eddie Cox did it this year.
Yep.
Eddie and his sons, and that's tough. I mean, you got to bring it pretty much every week. You don't get a lot of oopses. Brandon and those guys were second. They brought it just about every week too. And consistency is the king to winning points.
Right.
It's not necessarily how you win a bunch of tournaments, but it is how you will win the points. And that's not swinging for that proverbial fence, is going out and first and foremost, hey, let's get 5 solid fish in the box. Now let's try and win the tournament. So there is points fishing, and then there's championship fishing. When you got that one Super Bowl night,
right.
You're going out there, and there's a little bit of money for second place, but let's face facts. Thursday night, it's all about winning.
Yep.
You win or you go home.
For the people that don't know about the area and the local Thursday nights, first of all, the Thursday night is huge. Like, Thursdays are our busiest day during the season because people are coming and getting their last minute tackle. Steven says all or nothing this week. This is the last one.
Yeah.
How many people, like, what's the average boat number for these tournaments?
So they're put on by Low Country Bassmasters. I think is the correct name for the club. Isn't that Low Country Bassmasters?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, is the correct name. They've been doing this for, it's been like 15, 16 years or even longer.
Yeah.
And they start the first Thursday in May, and they run all the way until the deer season. We've got the championship set up now the week before deer season. Every Thursday from 5:30 to 8:30. And when we start the season out, you can have, we've had 70, 80 boats.
Cool.
Then as the year progresses and the points tend to set themselves up, if you will, the top 30 are invited to the championship. So the numbers will lighten up, but I think we've had 45 to 55 boats every week. And anything over 60, if you run, I think, a Triton, Ranger, Nitro, Camus, and Phoenix, there's bonus money if you win, if you have over 60 boats. So they got a lot of contingency programs out there with this tournament trail. It's just put on by a great group of guys and run very well.
Great fellowship.
Great, yeah. We get there, we come here and pick up whatever we need, and we got a little group of us. We go eat Mexican at 2-3 o'clock, and then we head over to the boat ramp and kind of make a whole afternoon out of it.
That's
we
cool.
get there and hang out and tell lies prior to blast off, and then weigh-ins at 8:30, and those that gather checks and head home. We do it again next week.
I think next year y'all should bring tacos here, and we'll just eat here.
That's right.
I like that.
we can have the taco truck
Yeah,
come
we'll get a
here.
taco
So
truck
you set
here.
that up, then we don't have to go. We
There
can
you
just
go.
come here and have tacos. Or,
Yeah.
switch it up with a different food truck every week. We can just have lunch right here.
You talking about
So-
Eddie won the points championship this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking back. I'd like to know, Low Country, somebody pull a statistic. Has he ever placed out of the top 5 for a year in the points championship? He is always
He's one of the most consistent, absolutely.
guys, and just he is always right there on something like this. You know what I mean? It's just
I don't think I had been out of the top 5 till last year, and I was
Right.
top 10 last year, and then just a really tough year this year, and dropped out on 15th or 16th this year. But
which is still, top
Yeah.
15. Top 20 out of 70
Right.
is good. It's tough to fish around there, and it's tough to fish. Do all that in 3 hours, you know, and the hustle and bustle of leaving work, getting there, you know, all that. It's tough. It's a different mental game too.
Right. So I'd like to be fishing them next year. So what would be your advice for someone like trying to break into the Thursday night circuit? Win? Got it.
Show up's half the battle. You got to
Yeah.
be there. When you have time, go down there and fish different tides, fish at different times and different tides. the Eddie Coxes and Ryan Bowleses, Will and Bill, Will Smith and Bill Holmes have been, consistent as anybody down there over the years, and Ken Ellis, those guys have all been just so consistent over the years, and you see every one of those guys. If you run down there on a Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon, you'll run into one of them down there.
Sure.
And they're putting in that time, and keeping up with what the fish are doing, where the bite is this week, and it will change. And that's a lot of, I had put years into learning, kind of that upper section of the river. It's no secret. I was the king of that upper river. I owned that place. Knew everything there was to know about it. And with the change in the pattern of the turbines, the way they run those turbines, there's no grass up there anymore. They rip the current turbines so hard that you can't even really fish up there.
Right. And
those fish just aren't there anymore. And that was kind of my bread and butter for better part of 10 years. I knew it. I didn't care that there was 6 boats up there. I'd fish right behind every one of them, because I didn't know that bank. I knew the rock they were hiding behind.
Right.
I knew the ledge they were sitting under.
Yeah.
We just spent so much time up there, let a boat move out of the way and then make that one specific cast to catch that one specific fish. And I think the guys that are doing really good now, have figured that out. The spot within the spot.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not that bank of river. It's that cut, and it's the fact that log is on the end of that grass, and you don't throw to that log. You throw 10 yards up, and you let that thing wash back to the log. Those types of things. And that's how you get really good on that river, because there's a lot of pressure there.
Yeah.
So just spend the time. To really be competitive, anybody can show up and win on any given Thursday night. It's happened 1,000 times before. But at the end of the year with the points, you can tell who's done the homework, who's put in the effort, the time. And I promise you, those guys in that top 5 or top 10 have put in the time.
Cool.
And the effort to show up and do it. So
We
Absolutely.
get a lot of people fish every day.
Yeah.
A lot of our customers that come in here and they fish every day. What they do is they make the time, where
Right.
we don't, I don't have time. They get off work, and if they got an hour, they go. And
Yeah.
that's,
And
Big difference.
Darren and I, when we were in that run during those years, and I won 4 of those with my partner Darren. One year, he was real sick and couldn't fish. I fished with Spencer McNeil. We won the points in the championship that year, but I was there every Tuesday afternoon. I went down there, I fished every Tuesday afternoon. If I didn't find what I wanted, I wasn't happy with what we found, we turned right back around and go back on Wednesday. Until found what you wanted, found what you were looking for, felt like you had a good solid game plan. And I think, I know that's what Eddie does. Eddie, they really fish the river 4 days a week.
Sure.
They go down there and practice 2 days. They fish the Thursday night and the
Saturday
Saturday night tournament.
Oh,
That's
cool.
every week from 5 to 9. And you just can't beat time on the water. Same holds true for the lake.
Sure.
Those guys that are just so good on the lake, it's because they're out there.
Right.
They go almost every day and have been going every day for 25 years.
If you could choose between the lake and the river, what would you choose?
Lake.
Really?
Every day, all day, no questions. I like catching the big fish. I
Okay.
enjoy the big bag. A huge bag on the river, is 20 pounds.
Right.
You'll get a few, 22, 23 sometimes, but an absolute massive bag on the river is 20 pounds. And most of the time that's just what it takes to win. A 10-pound bag will get you paid in a lot of tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to the lake, if you don't have 20 pounds, you're not even in check range. You're not even
Right.
sniffing a check.
Yeah.
And if you don't have most tournaments, if you don't have 30, you don't stand a chance at winning. 95%, 98% of the tournaments. So I enjoy chasing those big bags. I enjoy going for that dirty 30, if you will, and just catching those big fish. And that's what's so exciting about the lake is that next cast could easily be that 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pound fish, at any given time. So I prefer that over the river. Now, the river, you're going to catch a lot of fish, especially in April and May and early June. You can go down there on a good falling tide and just have an absolute blast and just catch a ton of fish.
Okay.
But so to each their own. It's kind of like the MLF versus the Elite Series
Right.
thing, So
Matthew Dangerfield said, "My wife won't let me go until Thursday." Well, she is the boss.
well, when you're as good as Matthew, you don't have to worry about
Yeah,
it. You
that's
don't have to
right.
practice when you got natural skills like he does. So
I'm about a 30-pound in the lake. Brent Riley builds like a wall that nobody can climb. We've yet to break 30 ever.
Really?
I've never broke 30,
On
and
the
it's
river?
like no in the lake.
On the lake.
I'm talking about in a tournament, like weigh in a 30-pound bag. Never done it, and every time, and that's not every time because he has some bad tournaments too. But you just really struggle, and you come up there, you're 22, 23, and we only got 31 or 30. He's caught more 30-pound bags than. It's unreal.
Steven said practice. We talking about practice? That's a good reference. Guys, we're getting close to 8 o'clock, and what time did you get here this morning?
9.
Yeah, we've been here since.
That early.
I got here like 9:06, so we've been here. Anyway, we're getting close to 8 o'clock, so we're getting close to the end of the show. If you guys have any questions for any of us, now's the time to ask them, and we'll try to answer as many as we can in the next 5 minutes or so. My last question is, when are you going to wrap the Camus and Phantom?
Whenever Todd's ready to write that check. Happy to do it and support Phantom. I mean, they've been a supporter of me for years, and anything I can do to support Phantom, we do. You know, I've changed. I got all my feeder. I don't know how many feeders and tree stands. I've kind of had to. It was just time to upgrade and
power rods, just everything.
Yeah.
Level 1 rods.
Level rods.
Yeah. If you want to spend money, you come see Matt Murphy. He's Matt. I don't know how many times I've texted Todd Smith and said, "You need to fire Matt Murphy." I cannot show up and go to Phantom with Matt there. I said every time I walk in, it costs me a few $100 every time when Matt's here. So.
Steve says, "Love Phantom gear, dude. Thank you so much for supporting us. We're excited about stuff that's coming too. So hopefully you'll fall even more in love with the stuff that we have in the works, in the pipeline, in the chamber."
And I do say, you know, that as much as Phantom's done for me, but Phantom in general, you know, they support the Thursday night trail. I mean, there's kind of bonus, you know, like the first boat out of the money, the five is small fish limit. I like novelty awards that go off, and I mean, Phantom donates money every week and every season to those things. So you can show up down there and get the smallest 5 fish limit, win $50 from Phantom or a gift card from Phantom. So Phantom's very active in the outdoors and supporting us as anglers, and we appreciate everything that you guys do for us. So
Matthew says Phantom is beyond awesome because of the people. That's because Matt right here just
because we have great customers. That's why. It's a mutual agreement there.
It really is.
Can I get Ryan's autograph?
Can I get Ryan's autograph? Jason Miles.
Put that on there.
Who?
Jason Miles.
Oh.
Skeeter said, "Don't get me started on Matt and spending money."
Well, you were talking. I'll tell a quick one since Jason Miles is on here. You were talking about can't catch 30. Jason Miles has lost more tournaments with 30 pounds than he's won.
Oh my gosh.
And I was a part of one of those. Most of those are due to Brent Riley. But when you catch over 30 and you come in and you lose the tournament because of Brent Riley. So Jason and I lost the tournament once with 30 pounds basically because Brent Riley beat us by a couple hundredths of an ounce.
You've never met Brent. You'll meet him, and he comes in here. He comes in here every so often. And when you go up there, if you walk up, sorry, Brent, if you walk up to a team at there, probably the team that looks like that he cares the least about what you think, what you're gonna do. He will beat your brains out. He can catch them, and Nathan, his partner, they just catch them. They're good, bro. Okay. I mean, they catch them.
Jason Miles taught him everything he knows.
He's the funniest guy to be around. He's just so laid back and happy, and he is just a cool guy to be around.
Steve Harmon said, "Matt, if you want to catch a 30-pound bag, you have to kiss Ryan on the cheek."
Hey. Wait till the camera goes off. If you could guarantee me that, I'll do it on camera. But I'm going to the lake now.
Right after Phantom Live, we have Phantom After Dark.
Yeah.
Stay
tuned. That's subscription only, though.
Yeah. Will you guys be making braided line in leaders or rods? That's not currently something on the radar that I'm aware of.
No, we can show you how to tie a leader.
Yeah, we can
braid the line. Maybe that's what that meant.
Yeah, but absolutely.
For manufacturing our own, no.
Jason did say that Brent's dad passed this week.
Oh, really?
For our information, we didn't know that.
Did not know that.
We're sorry to hear that for sure.
Yeah, I hate to hear that.
And obviously, if there's anything that we can do, Phantom or personally, definitely reach out to us. We're there for you. I think that's all we got, guys. It was a good show. Ryan, once again.
It was great.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So a couple things. This has been the funnest show so far. No offense.
It's been easy. No, it's been easy going. It's just easy going. I didn't have to hear you talk the whole time.
Matt,
I enjoyed it.
Matt was trolling me about having an outline, and I was like, all right, well, we don't have to have an outline, but
no. Let me go ahead and correct myself. So I went in there, and TJ has a full-blown Excel spreadsheet for Ryan. I'm like, bro, he's just an old redneck boy. I said, you're going to stress him out. Just ask simple questions.
That's why I said
He had an Excel spreadsheet. This podcast would have had to take 4 hours. We'd have had to start at lunchtime.
Anyway, we always want the podcast to feel like a conversation. So thank you guys so much for watching. The second thing that I was going to say is I was just watching the numbers a little bit. The highest and most consistent watch podcast live that we've had too. We were around 28 to 31 viewers at all times.
Very good.
When did the autograph start? Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
So I beat Patrick Walters.
Yeah,
That's all I care about.
Yeah.
As long as I beat
that
I finally beat Pat. I can't beat
Yeah.
him fishing, but maybe I beat him on the podcast.
That was before my time. So
So Saturday morning, everybody, all your fishermen and hunters too. I'm flying to Indiana, and we are going to buy the juiciest tackle on the market. For coming January, we'll have some of the best jigs, jig trailers, crankbaits in every sizes, and found out today there's a little bit of stuff that didn't make it for ICAST that's coming out on this show. So hopefully we'll be some of the first to have some of this stuff. So I'm
Awesome.
very excited about that. Some hunting stuff there too. So
okay.
it's just.
Did you buy any wacky worms?
Have you seen the Zlinko?
I saw that.
The new Cinco
Yeah,
that they
you
just
got
come out with? Yeah, they're going to be available there.
Oh,
so
baby.
It's
Alright.
kind of like a Cinco with a ringworm feel to it.
Yeah.
If y'all don't know, GSM is this giant outdoor company. Basically, they're like, correct me, they're Muddy Outdoors. A lot of these feeders they make, well, they bought Yamamoto.
Yeah.
A while back. So now is what you're starting to see is they're finding ways. Yamamoto's a great product. They assured us that they are not changing the product whatsoever. But where they do see is they see that, a 10-pack of Yamamoto's is great for some people. But some people want to buy a 50-pack. And some people want to buy a 100-pack. And so they're going to start bagging stuff like that where you can buy, again, a bulk pack of Yamamoto Cincos. So we're really looking forward to that. You got your 2 or 3 great colors that you like. You can buy 100 of them. You don't have to carry 52 bags on your boat on the weekend. So a lot of cool stuff like that happen. And yes, they did come out with a new Cinco wacky worm kind of deal. So we'll check it out and see. We'll get to see it.
They changed their logo too. Did you
they
see that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, Yamamoto has like a weird. It's not the same green anymore either. It was like a teal. I think.
Really?
Yeah. You haven't seen that yet?
I'm gonna curse that.
Well, I don't fish wacky very often, so I'll have to check into that.
Ryan fishes whopper poppers and pencil poppers,
Don't give away his sauce.
DT-22s,
DT-22s,
around the cypress trees,
around the cypress trees.
We also
jigging spoons in the hatchery,
There
right?
you go. Yep.
hey, we also still have. I think that was sarcasm. Y'all don't go try that. But we still have bait fuel available too. So y'all come get that bait fuel. We've sold half of our order already this week. Rod said Ryan is the wacky master. Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna shut it down. Once again, thank you so much to Ryan for hanging out with us, and don't forget to follow us on all socials. We're Phantom Outdoors across the board, and come get your hunting and fishing stuff from us. And we look forward to seeing you guys out there.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye, guys.